I am a 42-year-old soccer mom who is not a tech bro. So this is not going to be a step-by-step and it's 100% for free. Like we can do it for free. We don't have to pay and implement it into your daily workflows. Okay. And because there's these soul and memory files, you build out exactly your constitution on how you want your claw to operate. Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is DeWeese, and each week I come to you with videos updating you on HR, employee benefits, and insurance. And from time to time, I'll come forward with videos on personal development. And today I am bridging all of that together in a way and talking about AI and how I have been implementing AI into systems and using it as best I can and what I've learned so far. And I think most people will find this useful because I am a 42-year-old soccer mom who is not a tech bro. So this is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial on how to install OpenClaw or anything like that. There are plenty of channels out there doing that much better than I could ever do. However, I have worked in business administration, HR, insurance, and pretty complex archaic systems or getting archaic systems to talk over the last 20 years. Okay. And I understand how most businesses operate as far as how much paper they're using, how much systems they're using, how much automation they're using. And I also am now starting to understand where we are in the timeline for artificial intelligence and what some of this breaking technology is and what it can do. And I think that this will be useful for many people because I am not a tech bro. I'm not going to come on here and talk too much jargon, although I have been immersed in this culture for the last several months and on and off for the last several years. And each time there's been several versions of that. And I will go through kind of how I started and where I'm at today. And we can go through all that. And by the end of this video, I'm hoping that you can walk away with some information on how it is going to transform the workplace and perhaps how you can be encouraged to start using some of this technology and implement it into your daily workflows. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right in. So again, I'm not a tech person. This is a story. I've also been pulling the thread on psychology and AI. I find pairing those two concepts together as not only important, but extremely interesting because we have psychology of the AI, how the AI quote unquote thinks or processes information. And then we have human psychology, and both of those have come together and both of those have to work together. They don't have to, but they are working together. And most of the time people are using AI today and they don't even know it. You know, they're on Amazon, they're ordering things, AI. They're pressing buttons on a vending machine. It's a vending machine that's run on AI. They're in a cab, for Waymo and it's using AI. So I think at this point we are becoming immersed in AI and we don't even realize how much it's being used if you yourself are not using it on a regular basis. And what I want to get in today is where I started, what I thought along the way, and then as I dove in, how my thoughts and beliefs around this technology has changed. And the reason why I say I'm not a tech person is because that is the block that most people have with technology. and learning new technology. And I come to you with that phrase mostly to disarm you, to let you know that I'm not going to be talking over your head. I'm not going to be throwing a bunch of tech jargon, to make this concept and these ideas more approachable that all of us can think about, because we're all going to be impacted by it in some way. And there are those of us who are going to decide to use the technology to the best of our ability and to take advantage of it and to take advantage of this time. And then there are those people that are going to say absolutely not, anti-AI, just no matter what, they're not going to use it at all. And there's nothing wrong with either of those concepts. I'm not trying to plant a flag or create any kind of um, political stance. I don't want to die on this hill. I just want to come to you and show what I've done and what I've been learning along the way. And quite frankly, none of my friends, nobody wants to talk to me about it. So maybe there are some people out here on the internet that want to talk about this with me. And again, a lot of this technology stuff, I find that the first step is overcoming a lot of these negative beliefs that we have about ourselves. I'm not a tech person. I'm not smart enough. I don't understand. All these identity, I am phrases that are built in to the core infrastructure of our minds, our subconscious minds, whether we picked it up as a kid because we were messing with the computer and somebody told us we weren't doing a good job and that just stuck with us, or because the first time you touched a computer and tried to do something, it didn't quite work out the way that you had envisioned, so you became discouraged and just decided that you were not good at it. Whatever the reasons are, I just want to point to how important your belief system is before coming into a project that involves the breaking technology, the most cutting edge AI technology that we have access to, the common person now has access to. Okay. And where the story comes from, one bad experience with a confusing system in middle school, a boss or teacher who made someone feel stupid for asking a question, watching someone else get it faster than you. So these are all the reasons why we get tied to these constraining labels on ourselves and belief systems. So some people genuinely believe AI is inherently dangerous or morally wrong. And my stance on this, just so you know, going into it, is that I view AI as a tool. It is a brand new tool. It's the most powerful computer human beings have ever had access to. And it's a tool. It's like going from a bow and arrow to a machine gun in a Apache helicopter. Like it's, I mean, maybe a terrible analogy, but and violent one. I don't know why I definitely correlated to such violent imagery. I kind of do know why I did, but I digress. It's not important. So the real cost, so people tell themselves they can't learn tech, and then three is moral or ethics. They just don't trust it. There's a religious reason, something along those lines. All right, I'm waiting for it to build me a new slide presentation. And I will tell you that one of the biggest frustrations early on was using a Mac because I have been working with a PC and Windows nonstop since I started my first office job around the age of 20. And Control C, Control V, Control A versus Command CV A and all that, copy paste, going back and forth between Windows and Mac with just that slight finger just moving one keystroke over is so frustrating. And especially when you're working in a terminal. So in the command terminal, on Apple, if you hit Control C, it cancels whatever it was processing. So the first couple of times that I went to work with OpenClaw, I just kept canceling it in the middle of things and having to start over. And then there were old files in there and it was confusing. All the different programs that were running. It was very um, frustrating. That's a good one. And so this is my claw journey so far to date. Again, I am a 42-year-old soccer mom, not a tech bro. And I wanted to bring forward my experience so far in working with OpenClaw and what my experience has been and how long it took me. So I think when most people start working with AI, they think they're going to be able to give it a prompt with 5 words and magically get what they want. Like a lot of the content and posts and X posts are about making money with OpenClaw. And I think some people think that as soon as they get OpenClaw, they can start it and they can ask it how can I make money with this and create some crappy PDF and then have the claw go out there and make this and do all this marketing and make money. And some of it has worked. It seems as though the people that are really making it work already had marketing experience, already know what types of PDF products and guides are going to sell. Um, so I just want to come out and say right out of the gate that a lot of these AI systems and tools are available to everyone. Okay. And then, so for those of you that are not aware, OpenClaw is so what is OpenClaw? For those of you that don't know, OpenClaw is owned by OpenAI, which is the same business that owns ChatGPT. And November 30th of 2022 is when OpenAI released ChatGPT to the public. And that is when all of us first really started using AI on a regular basis. And during this time, I don't know if I started using it right on the 30th, but it was pretty close. The day of it being released, I started playing around with it and I decided at that time that I would use it every day, even if it was just for a few minutes, so that I could stay up on exactly what it could do and its capabilities were. And as I went along, I started using it for more and more things, helping me reply to emails, building templates for letters and replying to different types of letters, and using it for marketing and content creation. And then we had image generation, but it sucked for a long time. And now we have wonderful image generation that is super affordable. And I started using it for making music. I started using Suno. I obsessed on Suno for a long time. And in 2023, GPT-4 came out, plugins, browsing, custom GPTs. And this is when I was able to build custom agents or agents that were specifically trained on X, Y, and Z documents, things like that. And then in 2024, 2025, AI has moved from a chatbot to being able to operate your computer, basically. And chatbots, what are chatbots? They respond inside a window and they wait till the next prompt. They don't control your computer at all. Okay, it's just a chat. Now, agents, which is what OpenClaw is, and there are others, there's Hermes and some other ones that are coming out. Some people are building their own custom agents with these coding tools that we have now. But these agents, they use their own tools, files, apps, and memory. They can change steps across multiple tasks or multiple projects. And it starts to feel like it is a digital operator. It can become a digital operator, and it's not just a chat window. They're actually completing tasks on your behalf. So OpenClaw is an open source personal AI assistant framework you run on your device. It's built to work across channels and tools with a focus on local control, model choice, and agent behavior. And when I first heard this, I thought of all the risks first, which I think is a healthy response. I mean, having AI completely running your computer without knowing this thing and knowing its parameters and its capabilities and just downloading it onto your PC where you have all your work doc, your banking information, your life on your PC is not smart. It's not a good idea. Having it tied at all to a personal computer with any kind of sensitive information on it is a big no-no, in my opinion. I know people are out there doing that, and that's what scares me about this. What scares me about it is what other people are doing. I can't believe we haven't had more cracks in the security systems around the world in regards to security hacks and financial flash crashes and things like that since this has come out. And if you'll recall, a couple of months ago, we had a major dip in the stock market with tech. And a lot of people were blaming it on this AI bubble. And yes, that might have been part of it, but it was really interesting that it happened on the same day that all this OpenClaw news came out. First, it was Clawbot, and then Clawbot got purchased by OpenAI, and then they changed the name to OpenClaw. And I think it's because people realized in that moment that if the AI model that is responding to them in ChatGPT can now operate a computer, well, that computer can now program for you. That computer can now program for you. And before we used to have to copy and paste and put commands in there and then copy and paste the code out into and put it in somewhere into JSON files or GitHub or all these different software building tools. Um, Now we don't even have to do that. We can ask the AI, we can build systems inside our Clawbot where they have skills, and those skills can be associated to a bunch of different sorts of things. You can have a sub agent that is a financial expert. You can have a sub agent that's a trading expert. You can have a sub agent that is a expert in coding. And then you can have another coding agent that checks that coder, and they can work with each other. And then you can build a testing agent. So if you're building out a website and you don't want to click on every page and make sure every page works, you can build a coding agent to go through and check and make sure that there's no breaks in the system. Things like that. So there's endless opportunities with this thing. So OpenClaw was first released November 24, 2025. Okay, this is when it first appeared as Claude-Bot. And it was originally, people were criticizing the creator of Claude-Bot because it sounded too much like Claude AI, the Anthropic models. Okay, so then he agreed and he renamed it Moltbot because he wanted to keep the claw concept. And then because there was trademark pressure tied to the original name because of Claude AI. And then on January 29th, it became OpenClaw. Okay. And that's the name being used right now. It's called OpenClaw. And that's when I first heard about it, was around January 29th. I'm pretty sure I heard about it on like 28th, 29th. Okay, that was the first time I heard about it and people downloading it and using it and saying it was amazing. And so I decided to pause and just kind of watch to see what happened and keep track of the people that were using it. Why the name changed twice. So Clawbot, the original name, leaned too close to Anthropic's Claude branding, which triggered trademark complaints. And the creator agreed. The first rebrand kept the lobster theme, but the name did not land well with the community, Moltbot. Then OpenClaw, the final rename, emphasized open source identity and distance from any single model vendor. All right. And the other advantage to having your own claw is, or any agent, Hermes, or whichever one you choose to use, is that you can swap out models. You can decide to use an open model or a closed model. And there are advantages to both. The open models, the models that Anthropic can sell you through their website. So you go to Claude.ai, you sign up for their API, they charge you every time your claw pings their website, and you can pay those hefty fees if you want. OpenAI also has an API key you can use for your claw. That is less expensive. They seem to be more friendly with claw activity because they are the owner. They want to have people, they're more open. It seems that their policy is encouraging people to use OpenClaw and OpenAI together, where Anthropic is kind of pushing their hands and feet out and slowing all of this down and saying, hey, this is using way too much data. We're already having a data issue and a compute issue, um, which I think they're solving with Elon Musk, but I digress. They really had to slow this all down and prevent people from using their subscriptions with Anthropic for Claw, because OpenClaw is going to work faster than any human. And the amount of transactions or asks that it sends to that API vendor, the more tokens that you burn when you're asking their models. When I say they, like OpenAI and Anthropic's models, and you're basically being charged on a meter, like you would a utility bill, like an electric bill, but more expensive. Okay. And the other option is to have a local model. And you build a local model. It's not saved on anyone else's server. It's on a local computer in your house or in an office somewhere. And your Clawbot only goes locally. It only uses your local computer and your local model. Now, the downside to that is that local models are about 6 months behind. So you're not getting the cutting edge, badass results that you would if you're paying top tier with Anthropic. Okay, so that's the downside. But the upside is you own your own data. You're not giving your data away to any other vendors or some outside big billions of dollars, company. Also security, how secure you're trusting another vendor to be secure with your data. Okay. And also not sell your data. I mean, look what Google and Facebook and all of these companies that sell ads, look at how much they've sold us out. I mean, they've built profiles on all of us, social media profiles on all of us, so that we can be sold to and manipulated really into buying things when we may not necessarily be looking for anything to buy. We're just on the internet looking to be entertained, and next thing you know, you're clicking on buying a $250 whatever because you were marketed to so well. Okay. And it's not that I'm against marketing or anything like that. It's just, okay, I'm a little cautious with just freely giving my information away. Plus, me being in HR and insurance, I come to technology with that frame in mind. We need to make sure everybody's information is safe and secure. Okay. Um, so my advice with this is, do not put it, and again, I shouldn't be giving any advice on this. Just so you know, this is my disclaimer. I am just a 42-year-old soccer mom on the internet. I know nothing about technology. I'm just sharing my own experience for your entertainment and educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. Okay, you're an adult, make your own decisions. I would not put this on a cloud. I would not put a claw on the cloud. I would not put it on my personal PC. What I did is I bought its own computers. I have three. Okay, I have three computers that I have dedicated to claws and to models. And the reason I did that is because I don't want all of my basically journal entries every day. I'm going in there and I'm telling it exactly everything and how I run my systems. I don't want that in Anthropic or OpenAI. And then the other reason is Anthropic has increasing, I mean, Anthropic is amazing. I love going on there and just telling it one thing and I get what I want in just a couple of prompts. It's amazing, but it's also very expensive and it's gotten even more expensive over the last 6 months. We went from a $20 subscription to a $100 subscription to a $200 subscription. And even with the $200, we're limited. Okay. And Anthropic has a mythos model that they haven't even released yet to the public because they don't have enough data to support what they have now with Opus 4.7. The other reason is because every time I would go in there, I'd start getting some workflows down, okay, within these models like Claude or ChatGPT. And the next day I would go in there, run the same prompts and get different results. Okay, like for my presentations or for content. And I was getting different results and it's frustrating. You almost have to go back to the drawing board every time somebody over at this other company that has nothing to do with you or your life or your business, they make a change because they don't want to use as much data or they change their model for whatever reason. Now your results are different. So if we're going to build workflows and systems around AI, my thought is we want consistency. I want consistency. I want to know that when I say X, I get Y, even if it's not as good of a product as the newest badass model. So that's why I wanted my own personal models, and that's why I am building that. I'm not 100%. There are some people that are maxis with the closed models. There are maxis with the open models. Okay. And there are some people that just, yeah, they will not at all use Claude or OpenAI just for security and privacy reasons, which I can completely understand. It's something that freaks me out as well. And I think the more of us that build our own closed systems and are demanding that we keep this privacy, and I think the fact that it is open source right now, we can go on the internet and download this breaking technology and it's 100% for free. Like we can do it for free. We don't have to pay like Microsoft, like you go and buy a computer and you want the Microsoft suite, you want to be able to email, open Word docs, Excel, and you're paying hundreds of dollars just to be able to license the software. Okay, for the newcomers around here, for the kids, it used to be you would buy a software and you owned the software from now until Kingdom Come. Like you were going and buying an album. You own the album. You own the CD, you own the music. Obviously, you couldn't redistribute it and resell it to make a profit, but you owned it. Now we're so used to renting everything. We're renting digital movies online. We're renting music from uh, music providers like Pandora. We don't own the song. It's just playing these songs for us or playlists for us because of our subscription. We don't own the song anymore. Same kind of concept here. So the idea is if we own it, then we have more control over it. And if the provider or the vendor decides to up their rates, it doesn't impact us as much. It's a way of protecting ourselves. Now, why OpenClaw got so much attention fast? Because you can run it yourself. So again, I don't know how long this is going to be available for free, for one, and then two, that you don't have to, we're not going online and renting these capable agents from an Anthropic or an Open AI. We are housing them ourselves on our own hardware. Okay. And like I said, it used to be that if you had software, you bought the license, you own the license. Now you're renting the license. With Adobe, you don't own Adobe anymore. You have to pay them $30 or hundreds, sometimes hundreds of dollars a month just to be able to access their software. Okay. And those days, I believe, are coming to an end. I don't think software is done forever. I know some people are saying that, but I think it is going to force some of these software companies to get a heck of a lot better. Let's face it, some of the software that we have been using over these years is extremely frustrating. There's bad designs, it's bad user experience. Some of these coders don't give a shit about the user experience. They treat you like you're stupid if you don't understand the way that they've put their system together in the most clunky way possible, and then call you stupid for not being able to figure it out. It's like, well, maybe your coders were stupid. Maybe they coded shitty software. Okay. So I think that a lot of this AI is going to help software companies just get that much better. And I think we're going to end up demanding, the consumer is going to say, okay, well, if I can build a CRM myself, why do I have to spend $10,000 a year on your CRM when I can build it myself? You know, so you run it yourself. These models are changing constantly. And so I can switch between the different types of local models, um, like DeepSeek or Qwen. I think that's how you say it, QWEN. There's different, those are pretty good that I've used and swapped between and tried out for different skills and different types of agents. Then you have Anthropic has a bunch of different ones like Sonnet and all the Opus versions that you can use and swap between and decide uh, what agent is going to be using what model and why, what they're best at, and also what's most cost effective. All right. And I've built, that's one of the things that I've been working on since I started all this is figuring out the cost. Agent behavior, the project was framed as an assistant that could work across channels, tools, and automation flows. Um, so the timeline, so we've only, ChatGPT came out in 2022, the end of 2022. Then in 2026, we got OpenClaw. So really the gun got shot in the air, like the race started, in my opinion, February 1st, somewhere around February 1st. So we're like 3 months into this thing. Um, then we've got so my milestones, I wanted to bring this to you so you can see realistically how long it takes a layperson to do this. Okay. I'm not a complete Luddite, but I'm not a tech person either. I'm somewhere in the middle. Like I said, I've been working in business administration, insurance administration, HR, payroll systems, employee online enrollment, systems integrations, things like that for, decades. All right. So I do have some systems experience, but it took me until March 13th. So it was about a month. Yeah, it was like a month and a half where I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I've decided I understand what the risks are. I understand I need to buy its own computer, and I did buy a Mac Mini to start out. And I first really started researching a 30-day plan in March 13th of 2026. Okay. Then around my birthday, March 26th, actually on my birthday, I bought a Mac Mini and I had it ordered. I was looking for a refurbished one. They're a hot commodity right now. They're hard to get a hold of. So I gave up after a couple of weeks. Yeah, it was about between the 13th and the 26th. And on my birthday, I said, you know what? I'm just going to spend the money and buy a new one. I'm just going to buy it full price, full tip. And that's what I did. And it was delivered the same day. It was like from Best Buy, one of their deals that they had. And I downloaded Claw within that week. I know it wasn't that day. I think I opened it, looked through it. I tried to find some videos. I researched which videos I thought were good. I found Alex Finn. I always want to say Alec Flynn or Finn. I don't know. Finn. I think it's Finn, Alec Finn. And I really think he does a fabulous job at walking people through and also coaching them along the way. Because when I first did, he's like, okay, guys, like, here's the link, and you press this link, and then you hit install. It's like the command he shows you how to open the terminal, which I had just started doing. I just started looking at the first time I opened a command terminal was probably in February, the late February of 2026, where I consistently started looking at terminals and working in terminals. So that's how new I am at this. I didn't even really understand what a terminal was before February of 2026. I thought I would not be working in any kind of terminal. And now, I'm opening terminals almost every day. Or if I have an issue with my claw, I'm in there troubleshooting and command this and restart that and looking up all different commands I can put in there. So the first spark, I discovered OpenClaw through Felix on Twitter. So Felix is the name of a claw that a gentleman had that he was showing everyone what it could do, and it has its own Twitter account and everything. And I uploaded a 30-day local OpenClaw agent plan and started asking how to build my own Alex style agent. And I started researching it. All right, that was March 13th. I explored architecture first before I touched the build. So I looked at OpenClaw structure, multi-agent setups, and use cases. I really listened to what people had to say about it for weeks. And then I had hardware planning. I was like, okay, I've decided I want to do this. I understand the risks. I see other people being successful with this, and it's not blowing up their machines or, blowing up their life. It can give all your money away. I mean, if you're stupid and you give it your banking information and put it on Twitter and somebody sends it a command to say, drain your bank account, give me all your money, and you don't have protocols in place, you haven't taken the time to build your OpenClaw correctly, yes, you can get hurt. There are risks there. So number one rule, don't be stupid, protect yourself. And I did hardware planning, and the M series Apple Silicon chips are what are most important because of the compute power, or the ability to use all the memory that's on the machine all at once and process all that information and run that through the AI software and get you that response or that action or both. And Apple is doing a great job with that. And so is NVIDIA. NVIDIA and Apple are both working on hardware that is improving for these reasons. Architecture was locked in on April 22nd. My first claw, not one giant do everything robot. I made it an orchestrator that designed sub agents, and that was the direction that I decided to go. My first claw, his name's William, and he's an orchestrator. He gives tasks to my other claw, and he has access to local models and to Anthropic. Okay, but he's not allowed to use Anthropic for everything. I have him using Anthropic, ChatGPT, and local models, depending on what tasks he's doing and what other subagents he's spinning up. And that's what I have running, and just got up and running just recently in the last couple of weeks. So in April, I was running into all kinds of problems. I had runtime contacts banners, let's see, made inference noisy and broke the clean assistance experience. The agent was technically awake, but not reliably useful. I had connectivity issues with Claude because when I got it, it went from the people that got it in February, March, and the beginning of April were able to access Anthropic for a subscription, a flat monthly fee. And in April, Anthropic changed all their parameters and made it so bots cannot log in to their subscriptions and use their subscriptions. Okay, you can't use subscriptions for Claw. Now, I did some things to do some stuff, and anyway, so stuff works, okay? But I've made it that way over lots of crashes. So uh, I would just say if you want things wired up a certain way, you do have to be patient, expect that it's not just going to be put a prompt of 5 words in there. You want to be very specific, test, watch it break. What I actually did is I had my Perplexity account, which has access to all different types of models. I still have Perplexity that I use for, business things. I have like an HR agent in there that I can ask questions for, labor law things. I have all sorts of tools that I use on a regular basis within Perplexity, and I do think I'm going to keep that around for a while. I use it, my employees use it too. So I don't want to make too many changes for anybody else right out the gate just because I'm changing my workflows. But what I did is I have my Perplexity account, which has access to multiple different types of agents. I can access Anthropic's models in there and OpenAI's models in there. And I don't think it has Gemini yet. I don't know. But anyway, there's like 10 different models you can use in there. And so I have that window open. And then next to it, I have my terminal or my user interface, my Claw interface, where I'm talking to my Claw bot, or my terminal, and I would have them side by side, and I would copy and paste between the two and have my Perplexity there helping me troubleshoot. And it would tell me what commands I needed to do. I need to reset the gate or the chat, or, reset this, and download the new model, because new models are coming out all the time or new software updates for Claw all the time. So my recommendation would be have a subscription, but use it to get your Claw up and running and use it to troubleshoot. Okay. William became fully operational. So Gateway restarted. I was able to verify all my models were running because I wanted multiple models as backups and be able to have William make sub agents with other local model types, DeepSeek for this, uh, Quinn for that. And I had finally gotten to the place May 4th, so 4 days, where it's stable. I can run, because for a while I would go in there, I'd be able to work for an hour, let's say, or 2 hours or a couple hours. I'd get into a great flow, and then boom, I'd be disconnected. I couldn't talk to William anymore. Okay. And one time it even told me, came back and it said, I'm sorry, William is unavailable. I was like, oh, really? Who am I talking to? It was a little bit creepy, but it ended up being my local model, came through and was able to communicate with me. But anyway, I had to get William back to where he could talk to me again, because I guess he wrote himself out of, because I told him to rewrite his own files, which is probably not like I was being lazy, okay? And because there's these soul and memory files, you build out exactly your constitution on how you want your claw to operate. What kind of responses do you want? Cause no harm clauses in there, moral clauses in there. I think that a lot of this AI doom and gloom could be solved if people would think of morality first before telling the agent how to be and how to act. Okay, before giving it an operational task, let it know between good and bad. All right. So I did build that into the soul of my agent. There's actually a soul file, which is kind of fun. And anyway, so I finally got it up and running May 4th in a stable environment. So since then, I've been able to run 24/7, um, have it working 24/7, which was my goal. So I'm really, really excited about that. It was a huge milestone for me, going from a layperson to being able to have a claw operating 24/7. And then I did the persistent memory. Yeah, that was one of the issues around that time. I think it was right around, yeah, it was like May 3rd, was when I really got my memory system defined and down. Because what happens when you get all your model authorizations in place, now you're talking to a genius that has a memory of a 2-year-old. So, for example, my I took my daughter had a soccer game and there's a concession stand and my 2-year-old sees somebody else with an icy and he says, I want an icy. So I run over there. I'm like, fine, just get an icy. I just want peace. It's a Saturday morning. I want peace in my life. I just want to be able to sit and watch a soccer game. So go get this kid an icy. So we're standing in line. I'm like, okay, you got to stand in line. He's like, okay. And then he runs over to the picture. I want an icy. I want an icy. He wants to go up to the counter. And I'm like, no, you got to stand in line. Okay. I want an icy. I want to like their little brains reset every like 10 to 30 seconds. Well, same thing with OpenClaw. It's this genius, but if you don't tell it the context of what you want it to do, then it forgets what it was doing and it's everything starts over and I was in this loop for a while where the agent was crashing. I'd get disconnected from the gate. I'd have to figure out how to get back on with Claude or with OpenAI. And then the memory would like reset and I'd have to try to, tell it where I was and get it back to making progress. Then it would crash again. So I went through that for a while and eventually figured it out and got a good memory system and identity locked. So I had Mr. Owl, which is William Owl. He's the wise operator. And then I have Jason J, who is my ops lieutenant. He is has different skills. Then the 48-hour shipping sprint. So Nest, CRM, email security. So I have all of these projects that I want Claw to do. And that's one reason why I wanted to talk to you today, because I have talked to business owners about this, and many of them don't see where they can use AI in their everyday life. And I don't know if I exactly have an answer to that exact question, but what I can do is at least show you my progress along the way and kind of where I'm starting and where I'm going with this. So my next um, hurdle was communicating all of these projects. I mean, I have a ton of ideas, I have a ton of things I want to do, especially with this new tool. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a computer programmer in my office that will build me a website, that will build me a system, that will build me a software, it'll build me an app. Like my abilities have just expanded 10,000 fold. Okay. And so my mind just goes, and I think of all these crazy ideas. I'm like, oh, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this, we could do that. And so I have this list of projects I want to work on. I narrowed it down to 7. I actually did this in January because I kind of saw this coming. I did a lot of planning in December, January this year because I knew something big was changing. I didn't really know what it was, but I really wanted to do some forward thinking. Anyway, so it came down to number 1, how do you organize all these projects with your claw? So when you first start out with your claw, you download it and you're left with communicating with him over her or her or it over a terminal. You're in the terminal. Oh my gosh, you have to talk in like this specific way and get to these different areas in order just to chat with it. And if you are like me and are used to using Windows, so I press Control C instead of Command C, you cancel whatever the terminal is in the middle of processing. That just means cancel an Apple. And so I kept canceling it. And so then I moved on to the UI, which is the user interface. So it's like this local interface that's on the Apple on the Mac on the Apple on the Mac, and it looks just like a website, but it's only local. It's not like you can log into it from a different computer, and that way Claw knows it's you, because you don't want your Claw getting an email or having somebody else being able to communicate with it. It's communicating with you, the user. That's it. Okay, you can open it up to other channels, but every time you open it up to a Discord or a Telegram or another channel, if someone is able to get in your Discord or if somebody is able to get into your Telegram, they now have control over your claw. Okay, which may not be a big deal if you're just using it for content creation, something that doesn't have any private information on it, but it is important if you are getting more detailed with your claw. All right, so just something to think about. And so I was getting frustrated using the original user interface that comes out of the box with the claw, if you will. And I thought about Discord. I just really don't like Discord. I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I know a lot of people love it. I know a lot of people have been successful with it. If you are, great. But I decided to build my own system, local system, comm system, project management system, agent management system, agent tracking system, because I really wanted to see where my bots were or agents were, how many sub agents were getting spun up. Because William started doing all these things, and I told him to spin up some agents to create some different tools like transcribing YouTube videos. Okay, I use that a lot for, research and to have them distill research and things for me. So I wanted a tool that did that. And I wanted a image generate, just a simple image generation tool, just to really just to have one. So little things like that. And as I was adding all these projects, it started blending all the projects together because it didn't have context. You just had this one thread. And even if I would change threads within the UI, it doesn't let you go really long in the UI. You can't have like a super long history and you have to condense it and you have to reset it. And so anyway, it's just not the best way if you are a systems operator. So I decided to build my own and I've been doing that. It's called the Nest, or I've been calling it Claw HQ, actually. The Nest is the home screen. Everything is bird themed for me. I decided just to do that. I don't know why. I just decided to stick with the theme and stay with it. And William Owl, it was William because I used so much willpower to be able to use him. I felt like I had to use Will as a name. And then Owl because he's wise. Okay. Then I have some screenshots. This is not the final, okay? But these are just some different ideas that I had it spin up for me for my command center and or mission control. Some people call it a war room. I had the flock. This was one of the versions I had where I can see myself and then all of the different agents I have. I built a council of agents. I want to have a council of agents for different projects that I have. And there was different ways to organize it and view it. Okay. So now that I have that running, I have all my projects organized in a different way. I also wanted to make it fun. So I wanted it to be video game style, like 90s video game. I don't need like crazy graphics, but I do like the idea of making my command center more fun to use because and I was thinking about this today as I was parking my car at the gym. So when I pull up to the gym, a lot of people try to get a parking space as close to the front door as possible. That's not me. I find a parking spot that I know I can get to every single time I go. I want to park in the same spot every time I go somewhere. And so, yes, I park a block away or whatever, it's like, or it feels like a block away. I park where nobody else is parking, where I don't get door dings, where I can open up all my doors on my Suburban and my back hatch and get the stroller out, get the kids out. I'm not banging into any doors. No doors are banging into me. I can get the same spot every time because it's so damn far away. I can park right next to a curb. It's wonderful. But the downside is I walk farther. I might not be the fastest. I might be late to class sometimes, but it's consistent and I can stick to it. Same thing with this. You could have the most perfect plan in the world, and the perfect plan is probably going to be pretty boring for most people. Think about what is going to make this fun for you. What's going to make you want to open this up and interact with it every day? and make it easy for you to see where your agents are, where your projects are, and what needs to be addressed that day. So with the Nest and Claw HQ, I decided to make it fun, more video game style. Now, some other people wanted, more linear style operating systems or Asana style systems. And I do have Asana style features built in there now, but and they're wonderful and they're great and they're useful, utilitarian and all that. But I just needed something more design, a little bit of design to make it more fun. Okay, so that's just me, a little tidbit from somebody that uh, is here. So, and then the next project that I'm in the middle of is building out a CRM. Okay, so when I thought about, okay, if I want to start building out my own software, because if I want to make custom software just for me, um, and save money somewhere else, if I want to try to do that, the first place to go for me is a CRM because CRMs can be very simple. If I can't build a CRM, like I probably shouldn't be building anything. So I'm like, okay, I'll do that. And then after that, I'm going to build an email sequencing system with email templates and things that I have for my business. All right. And then, of course, I have my content engine that I have built out, and it's kind of up and running. It's really a weekly thing. So some of the stuff worked this week. I've got to go back and fix some bugs, but that one's pretty much operational, and I just have to clean it up a little bit. All right. So that's just in a couple of days, I was able to do all that. So really, let's see. So if you're trying to plan and see how long this is going to take you, um, March, a month. So I started researching. I actually got the hardware around March 26th, started building around March 30th. So it was about a month. It was about a month to be able to get it to stage one of like, I can operate stable 24/7. All right. That was my goal when I started this. Now, my goals have changed. I do want a bigger local model. I want a bigger computer for my own local model because I'm going to have more data, not less, in the future. And I want to have control over my own data. So I've got cost data going, which has been really great. You can see what all my agents are doing token wise, cost wise, move things around. I've got a scheduling system for all my agents so I can see when they've got downtime. And I've got this, I can click on a box, basically like a block of time, like for an employee, and say, hey, we want to schedule this here. And I'm only looking about a week out right now. But wouldn't it be cool to be able to schedule things out over an entire year with your agents and have things run automatically? Um, let's see. So in less than 2 months, I went from researching to a live multi-agent system with names, roles, active dispatches, real telemetry, and working CRM. And that's where I'm at. So if you found this at all useful, So if you found this at all useful, please share it with somebody, write a comment. It really helps me out. Also lets me know what kind of content is interesting people. And I'm continuing to go down this path with OpenClaw and AI. And my next video is going to be on HR because I see HR becoming a big part of where did it go? Where are you? Oh, it's in my other browser. So this one, I am going to get a different outfit on. So this here, I've got the Friday. This is a Friday. I'm recording this on a Friday. It's a little bit more casual, and I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling lucky with my Care Bear. Um, I think it's fun. I think it's a fun shirt. I love this shirt. I think it's a great shirt. HR didn't ask for this, but we are here. So why your employees aren't using AI and what HR can do about it. So a lot of this AI and decisions is coming through or passing through the hands of HR. So HR is the buffer between the C-suite, IT, and the employees. And HR is going to continually be asked about policies and procedures around AI training, getting their employees using X, Y, or Z or not using X, Y, or Z, safety protocols around, security protocols around AI. And I think this is going to impact human resources a lot over the next year or so. So I'm here thinking about that and thinking about all different types of systems that we are going to build to become better at what we do and make more interesting things and bring more value into this space and into this world. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.